All right, what is going on, Lions fans? It has been a couple of days since I talked to you all. To be fair and honest, there hasn't been a lot happening in Lions news. I was thinking there may be a couple of things that might pop off, but nothing has really popped off. So I figured it was time for me, now that free agency is slowing down a little bit, to jump into mock draft 2.0, Lions Den style. I have my mock draft up on the screen here, and you will and you excuse me, and you can see what I was looking at, kind of messing around, seeing what the Lions could do. Been kind of like you all waiting to see if Brad Holmes is going to make some type of a big move coming up, so we can fill in some of these gaps. But this is what I've come up with for my mock draft 2.0. If you haven't checked out mock draft 1.0, check that out as well. And I may do one of these a week all the way up to the draft. It is the 30th of March. So we are about 4 weeks away from the draft. And it is a very exciting time for the young men to be drafted, to see where they may go. But it's a very exciting time for us Lions fans, because we want to see what the team is going to do and what direction they're heading in. So let's get this thing started out now. In the first draft, I just went straight through, no trades. But this time, I did make some trades as we're getting closer to the draft. So as you can see, in the first round, what I did was I traded down. I traded with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I moved from 17 to 21. So we would have to we would have got the Steelers 21st pick in the first round, and their third round pick, which is pick number 76, in exchange for them getting the Lions pick 17. And with that pick, I took Akeem Mezzador, the defensive end or edge rusher, if you will, out of Miami. And PFF gave me an A for that. They're usually pretty hard on my draft picks, but they gave me an A for that. He was still available. There were still a couple of people available at 17, but I was thinking the Lions still have holes to fill. And I know in the last 2 weeks they have picked up some reserves, some backups, but I thought that it would be nice to get a couple extra draft picks and to fill some holes. In the second round, I stayed put and I took another edge rusher. I took Gabe Jacobs out of Illinois, and PFF gave me an A- for that pick. Yes, I did go back-to-back edge rushers. He was not only the best player available there, but you can never have enough pass rushers. I say that all the time, and I actually took that from the Philadelphia Eagles general manager when he said that you can never have enough pass rushers. There's a reason why, if the Eagles, they could take a pass rusher in 2023, if in 2024, when they're picking at pick 27 and the best guy on the board is a pass rusher or even a defensive tackle, they're going to take him. The defensive line is probably the second most important position on the football team. And I'm talking about the defensive ends and the defensive tackles. It's probably the second most important position. You got to have a quarterback and you got to have a fire defensive line. And it's not about one guy being on the field every play. If you're thinking, man, come on, brother, why did you take two edges back to back? Because you can't have enough pass rushers. Each of these guys could get in. They could equal a great pass rusher along with Hutchinson on the other side. Now we move down, and I made another trade. I traded our third round pick number 78 to the Buffalo Bills in exchange for pick 91. So we moved down, and for a fifth round pick. And with that third round pick, I took offensive tackle Markel Bell. I was given a B for that move. Markel Bell is a guy that can come in and challenge, because right now, really, who you're challenging is Larry Borom. That's really who you're challenging for the other tackle spot. And I think that a young tackle like this could come in and at least give him a run for his money. Moving into the fourth round, where we have two picks, with pick number 118, I took safety Bud Clark. They gave me a B- for that pick. I looked up his measurables. He is a combination safety and corner. He can play both, but right now I'm thinking about safety. See, we have to remember there's a chance that Kirby Joseph may not be ready, or he may not be the same again. And we already know that Branch is going to miss, I think they said somewhere between 5 to 7 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks. I kind of forget, but he's going to miss a decent amount of time. So you need a safety that can come in there and play. You can't just put backups in there and wish for the best. If there's a good safety there, why not take him? That moves me on to the next pick in the fourth round, which is pick 128. And I took linebacker Bryce Botcher out of Oregon. And they gave me a B plus for that pick. So I'm doing pretty good so far according to PFF. Now, I want to say I did not look at my mock draft 1.0. So I want to say I took him in that draft as well. But it is good to get another linebacker in. We know that we have, we have Barnes, we have Campbell, we have Rodriguez. And but I do think that the Lions need to build up some more depth there. And you can always use a linebacker on special teams. Moving into the 5th round, where the Lions, according to my mock draft, have 3 picks. With pick number 57, I took tight end Nate Boer Kersher out of Texas A&M, and they gave me a C plus for that. He was one of the best players on the board at the time, and I do think that the Lions are going to draft a tight end. I think that Brock Wright's days may be numbered. I really believe that my man Tyler Conklin is going to come in and take that number 2 spot. And I think that the Lions need a legit number 3 who can block and catch. And I think that this kid, if I remember, he's like 250. He's a nice size tight end. He's not as small as Brock Wright. So he can actually come in and do both. With pick number 165 in the 5th round, I took defensive lineman DeMonte Capehart. He's a interior defensive lineman, and they gave me an A- in the 5th round. So I think I'm doing pretty good, getting an A- in the 5th round. This is a guy that can come in. He can fill the spot that DJ Reader has left. I believe that the Lions probably have their starters in place, but it's going to be good to be beefed up. And as I always say, you can't have enough defensive linemen. Moving on to the 3rd pick in the 5th round, which is pick number 181, I took cornerback Hezekiah Massis out of California. I want to say that this kid is 6'1". I do think the Lions need another cornerback because we really don't know what Enos Rakestraw is going to do. We are all hoping for the best, praying for the best that Rakestraw can finally get on the field in his 3rd season. But I think after being burned by Marcus Davenport the last few years, you can't put all of Emmanuel Mosley. You can't put all of your eggs in the basket of a guy who's been hurt, who has an injury history, and hope that it's going to pan out. So you bring this kid in the 5th round and let him compete for one of those spots. Moving on to the 6th round, where the Lions have 2 picks. With pick number 205, I took quarterback Taylon Green out of Arkansas. Now, I do believe I took him in my first mock draft, and PFF did not like this. They gave it a D. Now, I don't really know why, because in the 6th round, if this kid Taylon Green is hanging around in the 6th round, how can this be a D? The thing is this: he's not ready to play, nowhere near ready to play. And as I have said, and I need you guys to listen to me, because some people see me taking a quarterback and they jump right in the comments and think that I'm trying to replace Jared Goff. You don't take a young kid like this to replace Jared Goff. You take a young kid like this to be a project. As I mentioned before, this kid is 6'4", 230, and he is very fast. He is a project. He is a Geno Smith type of project. This is the type of kid that you keep around for 4 or 5 years when Jared Goff will be 35, 36. You keep this kid on the team. You keep him around. Hopefully, unlike Hendon Hooker, he can pan out. Hopefully, he can learn the playbook. And the thing is this: you can even use this kid in packages. At that size and that speed, he would not be. I don't see this as a wasted pick. I see it as a project, and I'm not gonna lie. Every mock draft I do from now to the draft, people, you're probably gonna see me take Taylon Green. In the 6th round, pick number 213, I took another linebacker, Jack Kelly, out of BYU. They gave me a B plus for this, so that's pretty good for a 6th round pick. I picked this kid because I think that you need another special teams player. If they start releasing guys, you need some younger guys to come in and be able to play special teams. And with the last pick, in the 7th round, pick number 222, I took Kobe Young, a wide receiver out of Georgia, and they gave that a C. I do think that the Lions need to bring in another wide receiver. I'm sorry I don't have his measurables in front of me. I believe that this was a big wide receiver. I want to say this kid was about 6'4", and the Lions don't have really big wide receivers. And listen, it's a 7th round pick. If he comes to camp and he shows out, best case scenario, the kid makes the team, and maybe he can help out on special teams. Worst case scenario, he doesn't make the team, and it's a 7th round pick. A lot of 7th round picks don't make the team. So I thought it was a good pick there. All in all, PFF gave my draft a B plus. So I think that this was pretty well. But let me know what you think about my mock draft. Let me know what you think about the picks that I took. Is there somebody who you see on here who you would look at and say, yeah, even if that kid's available, I don't want the Lions to take him. But as I said, that's the fun part about the draft. We still got some weeks to go, and it's really the most exciting thing happening right now with football. All right. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give us your thoughts on Lyons Den Mock Draft 2.0. That's all for this one. Until next time, peace.